I'm your host, Wheelchair Rick. I'm a T3, T4 paraplegic. And today we have another brave guest coming to us. This guy's pretty awesome. I've known him ever since I, first injury back in 2020 when I came home. Very inspirational guy. But before we get to him, you know the deal. Let's roll the intro. Welcome to Wheelchair Wednesday. All right, y'all, without further ado, let's welcome our guest, Mr. Clint Cook. What is up, my friend? How are you?
What's happening, Rick? I appreciate you having me on, man. I'm a big fan.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. I talked to you, like we do everybody, a little bit beforehand, and we talked about, how I first seen you, and I came across SCI USA, and you had sent me a sticker, which I have on my wheelchair to this day. Before we get into the big questions and everything else, let's get into the SCI USA. Let's talk about kind of like, when you were first injured, what kind of made you think of it and start that? And you can talk about your injury too, and then we'll go from there.
Okay. So when I was obviously stuff was
your audio's breaking in and out for some reason.
So 1988, when I was injured, you got me? You good?
Yep, you're good.
Social media and, none of this stuff, cell phones, none of this stuff was available. So, it was kind of trial and error for us. The OGs of spinal cord injury, meeting up with people that were injured 10 years before me,
Right.
that just showed me the way. So that was kind of, that was my spinal cord injury USA when I was injured, was being out in the community. I got involved in sports very early after my injury, was able to be one of the founders of the Atlanta Quad Rugby team back in the late 80s, which was, a ton of fun. And later moved on to play in tennis for a bunch of years. And then I just got old, man. It's a young man's game out there.
Absolutely. Yeah. Tennis and stuff like that. So you did that while you were in a wheelchair. How did you like that when you first got into it?
Oh yeah, man. It was great. It was an outlet for me. I was a small town guy. I was lucky enough, if you want to say lucky, to be injured only about 45 minutes from Shepherd Spinal Center. So I was, that's where I got to do my rehab at, was in Atlanta.
Nice.
I spent 3 months in a general hospital before I ever went to Shepherd because of some other injuries from my accident. And I can tell you my story if you want of the accident. And
yeah, go ahead, man. It's it's all about you. Go ahead.
So I was 20 years old. I'd been out drinking all night with a buddy of mine and playing pool. I had just bought a brand new Trans Am.
Nice.
The guy that owned the pool hall, he had just bought a brand new IROC Camaro. And what do 20-year-old guys do after they've been drinking? They go out and race.
Yep.
So my injury was a single car injury. I was a single car accident. I was the driver. I was actually ejected out of the car through the T-tops, and then the car landed back on top of me. So it actually wrapped me between the front tire and the engine. So after breaking my neck on the way out, I was actually stuck to the engine of the car. So I have a huge burn across my back also.
Ouch.
And that injury was actually worse than a spinal cord injury, if you can imagine, because there were stuff going on. It took them over 3 months to get the skin graft to take because they didn't realize that my ribs had been charged. So when they were doing the skin grafts, several days after the surgery, the skin was dying because it didn't have anything to attach to. It needs living cells to be able to grow.
Right.
finally realized that it was the ribs that was causing the skin grafts not to take. So they had to come in and cut off the tips of my ribs on my left side.
Ouch.
Yeah. And while they were doing that, they punctured a lung, which was one of the risks they told me about before. So, yeah, so it was 3 months before I started physical therapy. Um, got to Shepherd, and I was at Shepherd for 4 months. You know, back in the day, they kept us forever.
Right. Dang,
Um,
man, you went through a lot. It's crazy hearing everybody's stories. Well, with this also, as you know, this is a live feed. So hello everybody joining us. Hello Jody, Eddie, all you people. If they do ask questions on the side here, that's worth asking you. We will ask you live. That's the beauty of this going live. So that happened to you, racing a car, crashed a car, skin grafts, engine burnt the crap out of you. How long ago was that?
so that was it'll be 36 years in April.
36 years. Wow. That's a long time to be
It's a
rolling
minute, that's for
around.
sure, boy.
Yeah, that's literally almost my age. I mean, I'm 37, so I can only imagine. You know what I mean?
You were not even walking yet, and I was just learning not how to walk.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. And it's crazy because I asked this question. As me and my buddy Ricky Marcato, we manage the SCI Life page, which is just growing immensely. And I asked the question the other day. How long have you been down? Like, who's been, who on this site's been down the longest? And there was one woman who commented that she was injured in 1957, I think it was, 56 or 57. And that comment, it just got the most likes, and she told her story. And I told her, I said, we'd love to have you on, you know what I mean? Talk about it. And just her going through all that time and still being alive to here today, you know what I mean? It's almost a miraculous thing.
Absolutely, absolutely, dude. I mean, before ADA, and back then, and even in the mid '80s, early '80s, late '70s, man, they just put us away. They thought that life was over for us. There were no resources for us, so they just kind of just said, "Hey, go home and do what you can."
Yeah, yeah.
So
It's medical
yeah,
field has taken leaps and bounds since then. You know what I mean?
yeah, no doubt, no doubt. And I'm proud of you guys for starting your page, man. You guys are doing great. I love seeing the growth. Um, Spinal Cord Injury USA um, took off well beyond the means that I ever thought it would. I
Right.
started it in hopes of just being able to reach out to some people. Never in a million years thought I would have close to 14,000 people. You
Yeah,
know,
I'm so glad to be a part of that one. That was the first one that I joined, and I remember when you sent me the sticker, like I didn't even have to pay you anything. You just sent it to me, and I thought that was the coolest thing ever. And I'm like, dude, that made me feel more like I was in the club. You know what I mean?
right? Sure, absolutely.
Yeah, so that's like kind of why I have my shirts, the Wheelchair Mafia shirts I make. Sometimes when we do our live podcasts, I give them away. I ship them to people, and yeah, it costs me a little bit of money, but
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, it gets the point across, and it makes people understand that, hey, we're in this together. Go out there and let people know. You're not afraid. You're not a victim. You're here having a great life. You can have a good life.
yeah, absolutely.
So now that we've gotten all that, let's pick up the question note cards and go from there. The number 2 question I have for you is, would you walk if you could? And I know you've watched this program before, so I kind of understand what that means. If you could go back and switch it all, what would you do?
And man, there's 2 answers for that. The early days after you're first injured, and this is probably for most people with spinal cord injuries. Yes, I would have loved to have walked again. Um, I would have loved to have walked out of the hospital, and be an able-bodied, productive member of society, and be able to go about my life as I was before.
Right.
36 years later, I wouldn't change a thing. I honestly would not change a thing, because what my injury did for me was it literally opened doors that would have never, ever happened to me, uh, or happened for me. I was a house painter, um, loved my job. I was good at it. I made good money. Um, but that is the path that I was on. I wasn't a college bound student out of high school. I learned a trade from my father, and that was the path that I was going to be on. Spinal cord injury opened doors for me that, again, never would have been open before. Getting involved in wheelchair sports, meeting other people in wheelchairs, which opened doors for traveling, uh, playing playing rugby all over the country, playing tennis on an international level. None of those things would have ever happened if I hadn't have broke my neck. It wouldn't even have been. It wouldn't even have been talked about.
Right.
So no, today I would not. And it's funny. I was in a meeting. It was a couple of years ago. You've heard of the exoskeleton?
Yeah. Yep.
It's a device that you can connect yourself to, and it gives you the ability to basically gait, not necessarily walk, but step forward. Um, Back then, the retail price on it was probably $100,000.
Yep.
Um, I was in a meeting with the people that owned Exoskeleton, and they posed the question, um, Clint, would you pay $100,000 for Exoskeleton? And I didn't even hesitate and said, no, I would spend $100,000 on a Ferrari before I ever spent money.
All right, Ferrari, you get more fun out of, huh?
Right? No doubt. And I don't say that to take away from anybody's hope or dream of one day being, connected to something that's helping them walk. I'm all for it for the next person.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right, and it's an interesting point because I mean, kind of off, the topic of the questions and stuff, but like to walk again is some people that's like all they think of. That's all they care about. That's all they spend their time thinking about is I will walk again. I will walk again. And great for you if that's what you want to do. That's fine. But I'm kind of a realist, so it's like when this happened to me, I made the choice, and from that moment on, once you get comfortable and you say, okay, that old me is gone. There's nothing I can do to get it back. Now I got to figure out what I'm going to do from here. Once you get that mindset, it's, for me at least, it's like, I don't even care. I don't think about walking like that. Yeah. So it's like when people are praying for me, like I want to pray for you to walk again and all this and that. It's like, first of all, do you realize that if I do walk again, I have scoliosis so bad that I won't be able to walk without an aid.
Exactly.
So it's like I don't want to be that I can move a lot faster in my chair. You know what I mean? Sure, it'd be good to get up and grab stuff here and there, like get up on the top shelf and stuff.
Yeah,
but
absolutely. And on that topic, and we'll probably stray off topic, all day long. But on that topic because it's a hot topic when people will post in the group. Somebody stopped me in the grocery store today and wanted to pray for me. I let those people do that. I don't want to take that away from the individual
right,
that feels like prayer is good, and for that person, that's awesome. It doesn't bother me at all to spend a couple of minutes of my time for someone that feels like that prayer will help me when in return it's helping them also.
Oh
I
yeah,
don't take
absolutely. I mean, I'll let them pray because I mean, if it's gonna help, hey, it might help some. I don't know. I pray myself, so it's like I don't feel nothing bad about it. So
yeah.
I guess, but sometimes it's like when people really bug you about it. That's one of my pet peeves, and we're gonna get to yours here in a little bit once we get down this list here. But I was thinking about that the other day. I'm like, I guess that is one of my pet peeves when people just stop me and they always say, "Well, hey, have you tried this? Do you want to try that?" And I'm just like, listen, man, like I don't want to. You know what I mean? Like I've tried it. We know. If I start feeling stuff again in my legs, maybe. But
Sure.
here's a big one: dating/married. What are your feelings on that?
So dating/married. I am single. I have been single for a minute. I do date. Um, I have been married, and I have been divorced 3 times in my wheelchair career. So
Three
I'm not
times?
opposed. 3 times.
Wow.
Yep, I got married. So I was injured when I was 20. I got married when I was 23, 24 to my pool hall sweetheart. And
Nice.
that didn't last long. But you know, it had nothing to do with me being in a chair. It was lifestyle, you know, mostly.
Yeah.
Um, and then, yeah. So and then two other times, married and divorced. Love love the idea of marriage. Love the idea of being in a relationship with one person. And you know, I'm out there. I put myself out there to date.
So what you're saying is it's possible. It's possible to go out and still do the stuff and not have to worry about it.
It is. Yep, absolutely. And you know, in the dating world, which is another hot topic in our groups. You know, you see it all the time.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, do you do you still date? You know, and my question is, well, why wouldn't you? You know, um, or you'll see the individual that is more on the, we'll just say on the lower spectrum, maybe, you know, depression, you know, oh, I feel bad because I'll never be able to date again because I'm in a wheelchair. Um, if that's how you think, that's probably how it is going to end up. You
Yeah.
know, life in general is, and especially in the dating world, is about confidence. People are attracted to confidence, whether it's in the dating world, the business world, the social world. People love confidence.
Absolutely. Yep. It's all about mindset and how you present it. You know what I mean? How you present yourself. And you got it. You got to be confident in yourself and love yourself before anybody else is going
Sure.
to do it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Um,
Absolutely.
so that's good. That's good. I'm glad that we, was able to establish that. But 3 times. Wow, man. In and out. He's just,
I'm a glutton for punishment, brother. What can I say?
Oh man. You ever seen a Bronx Tale? They say you're only allowed 3 great ones
I
in your
have. Yep.
lifetime.
Yep.
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 Love that movie. Oh, here, number 4, pet peeves. What is your pet peeves?
Oh my God, dude. So I live my life in a positive mindset as much as possible. So do I have pet peeves? Probably. Do things bother me? I don't know. Maybe some. Enough to actually put any thought into it. I don't really think about it. You know, and I've seen your show, and I know this. I knew this question was coming, and I'm like,
Right.
how am I going to answer that? You know, because I don't know that I have really any pet peeves enough that would warrant a conversation about. You know, I mean, yeah,
Right.
you get you have parking issues. We all have parking issues. You know, you pull up into the Walmart, all 5 spots are taken. You know, so you have to park out a little bit further away. Okay, so big deal. Um,
Yeah, that happens to me all the damn time, and that's
I know, dude.
stupid.
Um,
I just take up 2 spots. I park diagonally. I take up 2 spots, and then I get out.
yeah, yeah. And if that's what it takes, that's what it takes. You know, I would say um, one thing that would bother me the most is that there are people out there like yourself, like you guys that you know have your group, you know, Spinal Cord Injury USA, people that are in the community that are making things available, and you almost have to pry people out to get them to do something. Um, I mean, I live in a very active city. I mean, Atlanta, our disabled population is huge. Um, we have Catalyst Sports. We have United Spinal Association of Atlanta, um, Spinal Cord Injury USA. Life Rolls On comes over here once a year for a big adaptive skate event, and you almost have to beg people to come out to do things.
Right.
Um, that you know, it's the old cliche that you know 10% of the people are doing 90% of the work.
Yeah. Well, and like you said, it's hard to get people to come out to do things, and it's like, I was there too. Sometimes I'm there even now. It's where I don't want to go out. I don't want to interact with people. I don't want to, you know what I mean, go do all these extra things. But what I found is that once you get over that hump of I guess I'll do it. You know what I mean? Go out. Once you get there and you're doing it, then you're like, damn, I'm glad I came and did this. You know what I
Right?
mean?
Absolutely. Yep.
Um, what is something that you wish you could do that you can no longer do?
Man, I miss throwing frisbee on the beach. I tell you, if there's one thing literally that I do miss is throwing frisbee on the beach.
I used to love a good game of Frisbee. We used to throw Frisbee in the street. Yep.
And I didn't grow up around the beach, but we went a lot. And we would, at home, we would play 500. We would play ultimate Frisbee. Um, Run around with just, your terry cloth shorts on and no shoes and, you know, cold beer waiting on the sidelines for you. I kind of miss that. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's funny because a lot of people are going to be like, well, you can still throw a Frisbee, can't you?
Absolutely. I can throw a Frisbee. Absolutely.
But you can't chase after it and run and grab and dive and do all the stuff you used to be able to do. I remember doing all that, man. It's a good workout. You get a good Frisbee game going, you're going to be huffing and puffing at the end.
Absolutely.
Especially if you got somebody that can't throw it straight. Yep. Yeah, that's a good one. I've never heard that one before. That's it made me remember my Frisbee days. That's fun. It's a fun activity. This is not really a question, but I got on the back of a card. What type of wheelchair do you got, and do you got a name for it?
I don't have a name for it. I have a Eagle sports chair, which is a local guy out of Georgia that has built sports chairs for years. I mean, I've been injured for 35 years, and he's probably been building wheelchairs for 40 plus years.
Nice.
So it's just a rigid frame, manual chair.
Right. Oh yeah, I like the white. So you don't got a name for it, huh?
I don't name my cars or my wheelchairs.
That's one thing I don't know. I've always done for some reason. I figured more people did it, but the more I asked, the more I noticed that not everybody thinks like me, I guess. I don't know.
Right.
What is the thing, or actually before we get to that, what's your pain level like? You got any pain?
I do. I have pain. My right hand, so my injury being incomplete and even still being a quad, I have finger function on my left side. My right side, it stays closed all the time. No function at all. I have tenodesis, so I can pick up things and hold on to them.
Mm-hmm.
But this hand, whether it's arthritis or just the fact that it's closed all the time, it hurts like crazy. But the only time I notice it is when I'm not doing something. Right. If I'm just chilling, when I lay down at night, my hand hurts. But during the day, I'm up at 6:30 in the morning and I'm in my chair for, 18 hours, 18, 19 hours. And now I'm not going to lie, I'll come home and take a nap after work, but I'll get back, so for me, my pain, I don't notice it during the day because I'm busy doing something all day long. Right.
Which, I mean, that's, a lot of it too. Like I was told this in rehab, if you lay there all day and mope about your pain, that's what's going to happen. You're just going to sit there in pain. But if you get up, go do stuff, keep active, you feel better. Yep. Now me, I got hardware in my back, so it's like, it's always there. I hate it. The pain is just, I'm always at least a 3. Most days it's like up to a 4, 4.5. But that's something I was thinking about doing, is getting my hardware taken out. I don't know, anything about it. That's just something I got to research and check out. But yeah, it's interesting knowing some people, like even the injuries that they've sustained, the pain levels, like it's sometimes just none. They don't have any. Which would be great. I envy you guys for that.
At about the T7 level and lower, T7, T8, those guys, man, that's where most of the guys that have most of the pain.
Yeah.
Those level pairs.
Yep.
And I hate it because I know it's a real thing, dude. I used to work with a guy who would literally double over.
Oh, you're breaking in and up again. Can't hear you.
I would say a buddy of mine, knowing that it's a real thing, pain is, he would just literally double over. Just be talking to you and all of a sudden just double over in pain.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, it's I've got a couple people that I've talked to face to face that I've seen him just like wince in the pain, and I'm just like, man.
That's crazy, dude.
Yeah, it's nuts. What is the one thing that helped you the most after your injury?
So I was sitting in my room, in my rehab room at Shepherd, uh, because it did take me 3 months to get to Shepherd. So I'm 3, 4 months into my injury, and the thing that helped me the most, and the thing that stands out the most to me, is a guy came into my room. He was in a chair, and he just told me, Clint, I know how you feel. I know things are bleak right now. You're young. He said, but I want you to know, um, you can still date, you can still drive a car, you can still work. And this guy, he 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 walked the walk, dude. I mean, he wasn't just in there to fill me up with a bunch of bullshit. He literally worked at Shepherd in the IT department. He was uh, on his way to Seoul, Korea for the Paralympics. Drove
Nice.
a nice car, had a girlfriend, lived as a normal life as possible. And I went on a camping trip while I was still at Shepherd. It was a weekend outing, and I saw that same guy in the swimming pool floating around. All the pretty therapists were hanging out with him, and I'm sitting on the sidelines, and I'm like, I want to be like that guy.
Right.
And yeah, so that helped me more than anything at all. And I'm still friends with that guy today. We just saw each other a couple of months ago and hung out.
That's awesome. It's crazy that you say that because when I was in my rehabilitation, Mary Free Bed, a guy came in and his name was Pierre, and he was from France, but he had got shot in a home invasion, and they shot him in his back, and he was telling me about the story that he had. He lost his wife, and it was horrible. But like he gave me kind of the confidence to kind of like buck up and do it. So I mean that's awesome that people still do that.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
Well, that was even back then they did that. You know what I mean?
Sure, absolutely, dude. And that's one reason that I still do peer support today. I mean, I still, on my own time, go down to Shepherd Center and speak to people in their room, and that's because someone did that for me. I certainly don't mind giving that back.
Right. Absolutely. That's kind of why I like doing this. It's
Dude, absolutely, 100%.
yeah, like not only is it helpful, hopefully, obviously to other people, but like even for me and like people like you, it's just to have a conversation. It makes you feel better. It's kind of like therapy. You know what I mean?
It is. No,
Um,
it's when I watch your shows, it is. I will turn everything off around me. I'll pull it up on my iPad so everything's a little bit bigger, and I'll listen to the whole interview, and
nice.
it will take me back sometimes to where I was, in a bad place. Um, you had a guy on there a couple of months ago, and I don't remember the exact story, but I'm like, man, that guy is talking about me exactly.
Right.
and, and being injured 35 years and still being able to learn and grow from someone that was injured, for 5 or 6 years. That's where we, as individuals, have to come to our community, because the individual that's been hurt for 3 months can still mean something to the individual that's only been injured for a month.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, I've been told a lot by people like they're like, man, like you sound like you've been down for 10, 15
I
years.
know, to listen to you talk and the way the way you handle yourself. Um, I would have thought you were injured forever, for real.
All right. Well, yeah, I appreciate it. I guess that's just I don't know, the way I go about it, I guess.
Right.
Our buddy Albert Shaw, it's a live show, so he's in the comments. He said, Clint, tell Ryan Kress hi. I don't know who Ryan Kress is, but
I will tell Ryan Crest hi.
oh man. But yeah, definitely. It's like I'm glad that you guys gave me the opportunity to do this, and that's what makes this whole thing is you guys coming on here and telling your stories, and that's why I tell everybody you don't have to pay anything, you ain't got to do anything special. Just get on there. I'll ask you a few questions and tell your story. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I love it, dude. I love it. You're doing great things, brother.
I appreciate it. Next question: hobbies. We talked a little bit about frisbee. You did a little bit of racing in your younger years. What is your hobbies that you do now? Do you do anything now?
So I play pool. That is my big social outlet. Um, I play in a league for APA. One of the first things I did while I was still at Shepherd one of the things that I enjoyed the most before I was injured, besides throwing the frisbee, was playing pool. Um, and at Shepherd, they had a pool table in the rec room, and my dad and I would break away. And, I still didn't have any hand function at all. So we had to use we would sometimes use tape to tape the pool stick to my hand. And then a rec therapist saw what we were doing, and she made um, basically a gripper for me, a clasp that would Velcro around my hand into the pool cue, and I started playing pool at Shepherd, and I've played all 35 years of my injury.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I got a buddy who's really into pool. Shout out Todd. He's got couple pool tables. He's got $1,000 sticks and just like all this crazy stuff. But the thing is, like, I played pool, tried to play pool in rehab, and to try to play pool in a manual chair was, I don't know, it's weird. It's not built for pool, so you got to kind of like maneuver your body and twist around. I haven't given it much tries since then, but like that'd be something I wouldn't mind doing, going out and just checking out some pool maybe and hanging out. But that's always something, you know what I mean? Like, you don't know what you like until you get into it.
Absolutely, and that's one thing that everybody that I play with on Tuesday nights, I'm the only person in a chair. So it's like I'm just hanging out with an able-bodied community that I can compete against and win. Sometimes I'm not a great player, but if you match me against the same skill level, my chances are pretty good at winning.
Right. I definitely probably would not want to play you. Let's look over here. We got a question from Megan Hearn. She said, "Hi, what was the first thing you wanted to do when you got home from the hospital?" I'm guessing.
All right. So when I drive was the first thing I wanted to do.
Drive a car again.
Yeah, I was asking that question before. By the time I was conscious and able to carry on a conversation, my first questions to the doctor was, "Will I be able to drive again?" I was always into hot rod cars. Um, I wouldn't say that cars are a hobby of mine, but I am a car guy. I love going to car shows.
Yep, ditto.
Yeah, 100%. My focus was driving from day one, getting home, and it didn't take me very long. The only reason I was held up from driving was saving up money to buy a car.
Right. Yeah, and I tell everybody too, like, it is possible. That's possible. Anything's possible in this life. You can still do it. You just got to kind of either want to do it or figure out a way. Now, not everybody. Now, I've seen some quads who don't have the function. It's just too weak, which sucks. I mean, I can only imagine. But, I mean, it's the people that can do it, it's possible if you think about it. You know what I mean? Just hit up your local rehabilitation center. See if insurance will cover it.
Yep.
A lot of times insurance will pick up that bill. What about travel? You like traveling?
I do like traveling. With my career in sports, also, the first 25 years or so of my injury, I traveled extensively around the United States, calling on hospitals for work. I've been in the medical supply industry since 1993, so I have traveled all over the country, again, calling on doctors' offices, hospitals, playing rugby, played all over the country, playing tennis all over the country. So, yeah, I have traveled a bunch, and most of that was air travel.
Nice. Now, when you mentioned rugby, it kind of threw up a flag in my mind earlier. I interviewed a guy named, I think his name was Colin Cook. He was from the UK. He was one of my first Wheelchair Wednesdays. He himself was not in a wheelchair, but he was getting wheelchair rugby to play on grass over in the UK. And so, like, he was super excited about it. And they just did that. They just got it crossed. So I want to give one of those for him. Congratulations, Colin, if you're watching. We're going to get back with him, too. But, yeah, rugby, I've seen these guys in wheelchairs out playing rugby and, like, even football or whatever. And it's like, man, you guys are just going hard. I mean, I get you can't feel it, but, like, geez, man. Like, these guys get injuries and have to sit out for months. It's crazy.
People, when I was playing, people would ask me, what's your favorite part of rugby, And my answer was always there was no greater feeling than knocking somebody out of their wheelchair.
Oh, this is like
That was the highlight. That was the highlight of my night, whether it was practicing against my own team or in a tournament.
Nice. Who would have thought the leader of
right?
SCI USA just loves knocking people over in wheelchairs? Oh, I'm gonna give you one of these. All right. So the last question that I got for you, which I think is one of the most important, is what is the best piece of advice that you could give somebody right now who was newly injured?
Man, I have almost a canned answer for that, and it is don't wait till you're walking to start living again. You know, I mean, don't get in that mindset that, okay, I'll go back to school when I start walking. I'll start driving when I'm walking. You know,
Right.
I'll go back to work when I'm walking. I'll start dating when I'm walking. Don't wait for that. Start today like this is how it's going to be. And when I'm talking to a person that's newly injured, I'll tell them, look, I'm not taking away your faith, your hope. I hope you walk, brother. I hope you do. I mean, if that's what is planned for you, I hope that comes true for you. But don't get behind the 8 ball, because if you wait 3 or 4 years and then you realize, well, maybe I'm not going to walk. You're out of shape, you know. You have bed sores, or you're having skin problems. If you start today like this is how it's going to be, you're going to have a better chance at having a successful life. And I don't mean financially successful. I mean living a life that people would look at and say, you know what, that dude's kind of got it made. You know, he's living his best life.
Right. Awesome. Well, let's give him a round of applause for that. Thank you, Clint, for coming on.
I appreciate you, brother.
Absolutely. We're going to keep you in the loop for future stuff. If we got any kind of shows that we want to look back or whatever, we'll hit you up. Yeah, definitely want to say thanks for the beginning, the SCI USA, man. That stuff right there kind of changed my outlook, like I said. Definitely want to get with you on some of that stuff too, because I got some stickers I want to trade you.
Hey, absolutely, and that whole sticker thing, man, I was floored by the response that I got from that. I bought like 100 stickers, right? Mm-hmm. And I threw it out there on Spinal Cord Injury USA. I sent out over 1,000 stickers.
Ooh, man, that had to cost you a pretty penny.
I mean, I kept having to buy stickers, and actually, somebody in our group that has a spinal cord injury, his son or son-in-law works for Sticker Mule, is who I was buying my stickers from.
Oh, nice!
And he actually, the son-in-law, gave me like a $300 credit.
Wow.
Stickers. So
that is amazing.
From somebody in the group that had a spinal cord injury that helped us along with that.
That is amazing. Heck yeah, man. Well, shoot, it was good hanging out with you, Clint. Stick with me real quick. Everybody else, if you do want to be on this show, send me a message. Find me on Facebook, YouTube, comment, do whatever. I mean, there's easy ways to get a hold of me, folks. Take a dub, put a note on it, send it out. I'll get it somehow. Besides that, we'll see you on next week's episode. Until then, thanks for watching. This is Wheelchair Wednesday.
Good job, guys.